Hello, Dayan. Hello. Dayan, start কৰিব পাৰো?
ma'am, start কৰি দিয়ক।
Orpita ba and Navadip sir, please আপোনালোকৰ ভিডিঅ'টো অলপ অফ কৰি ল'লে সুবিধা, otherwise it is echo হৈ আছে। Namaskar. A very warm and hearty good afternoon to all of you. Respected Principal of Pragjyotis College, Dr. Manoj Mohanto sir, respected Vice Principal Madam, respected IQAC Coordinator, respected HOD of Department of Political Science, respected HOD of Sanskrit Department, my esteemed colleagues, all participants coming from in and off campus of this institution, the technical staff of this webinar, and finally, our most respected today's guest of honor, the resource person, our invitee teacher, most beloved teacher, Dr. Dolomoni Goswami sir, Professor, Department of Education, Guwahati University, and Director in charge of Guwahati University Press. Myself, Gauri Hajorika, HOD Department of Education, formally welcome you all for today's webinar. In spite of the busy schedule, sir has given his valuable time for us, and we are really thankful and grateful to you, sir. We are thankful to our respected principal, sir, for his constant support, guidance in each and every corner of this endeavor. We all know that National Education Policy 2020 envisions an India-centric education system by delivering high-quality education to all. It contributes directly to our nation's long-term transformation towards an equal and thriving knowledge society. Considering the need and necessity of this policy and its implementation, we from Department of Education, Political Science, and Sanskrit, in collaboration with IQAC Pragjyotis College, organized this particular webinar for this particular purpose on this very special day. Saying these few lines, I once again formally welcome you all and conclude my lecture here. Thank you, sir. Thank you all the participants. Now I am giving my sirs to Orpita Das to carry over the session here. Over to Orpita Das.
Thank you, Professor Gauri Hazarika. Now I request Professor Nivedita Devi, HOD Department of Sanskrit, to speak a few lines. To you, Baido.
Namo Namah. Namo astu gurave tasmai gayatri rupine sada yasya bagamritam hanti bishang samsara sangyakam. বৈদ্যুতিন মাধ্যমেৰে অনুষ্ঠিত আজিৰ এই সভাৰ মাননীয় সভাপতি তথা প্ৰাগজ্যোতিষ মহাবিদ্যালয়ৰ মাননীয় অধ্যক্ষ মহোদয়, প্ৰাগজ্যোতিষ মহাবিদ্যালয়ৰ মাননীয় উপাধ্যক্ষা মহোদয়া, সভাত বক্তৃতা প্ৰদানৰ নিমিত্তে মহাবিদ্যালয়ৰ শিক্ষা, ৰাজনীতি বিজ্ঞান ও সংস্কৃত বিভাগৰ আমন্ত্ৰণ ক্ৰমে সংযুক্ত হোৱা গুৱাহাটী বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ প্ৰাধ্যাপক পৰম শ্ৰদ্ধাভাজন ডক্টৰ দুলুমণি গোস্বামী দেৱ, সভাৰ সৌষ্ঠৱ বৃদ্ধিৰ নিমিত্তে তথা জ্ঞান আহৰণৰ অৰ্থে সভাত সংযুক্ত সুধীবৃন্দ, আদৰণীয় উদ্যোক্তা মণ্ডলী ও মৰমৰ ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰীবৃন্দ। National Education Policy 2020, a paradigm shift in higher education শীৰ্ষক বক্তৃতানুষ্ঠানটি সাফল্যমণ্ডিত কৰাৰ মানসেৰে আমি আটায়ে একত্ৰ সংযুক্ত হৈছো হওক। এই সুযোগতে মই সংস্কৃত বিভাগৰ তৰফৰ পৰা অভ্যাগত সন্মানীয় সমল ব্যক্তি মহোদয়কে প্ৰমুখ্য কৰি সদৌ অংশগ্ৰহণকাৰীলৈ উষ্ম আদৰণি জনাইছো। আশা ৰাখিছো অনুষ্ঠানটিৰ জৰিয়তে সমূহ শ্ৰোতা দৰ্শকে ইপ্সিত জ্ঞানলিপ্সা পূৰণ কৰিবলৈ সমৰ্থ হ'ব। পুনৰ সকলোলৈকে মোৰ উষ্ম স্বাগতম জনাই মোৰ বক্তব্য ইমানতে সামৰণি মাৰিছো। ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Professor Navadip Das, HOD, Department of Political Science, to say a few lines. To you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I, Sri Navadip Das, on behalf of the Political Science Department, would like to welcome my heartiest welcome to our respected principal, sir, who is always encouraging us to organize this type of academic exercise, which will benefit all the teachers as well as the students. I would like to offer my heartiest welcome to our Vice Principal, Madam. I would like to offer my heartiest welcome to Education Department, to Sanskrit Department for collaborating for this exercise, today's exercise. And I would like to offer my gratitude to Dr. Dolomoni Goswami, Professor, Department of Education, Guwahati University, for sparing his valuable time for us to enlighten on the topic National Education Policy 2020. We hope that today's deliberation on this topic will immensely helpful to have a good understanding about National Education Policy 2020, which we all are concerned. Again, I would like to thank all the students, all the colleagues who have joined this webinar.
Thank you, sir. May I now request our Honorable Principal, Dr. Manoj Kumar Mohanto, sir, to formally inaugurate the webinar with the inaugural speech. To you, sir.
Thank you, Arpita. Respected HODs from the Department of Education, Political Science and Sanskrit of my college, esteemed colleagues from these departments, and today's speaker, Professor Dolomoni Goswami from University of Guwahati University, Department of Education. It is indeed a very pleasure moment for me to be here in this virtual platform amongst you to welcome you all to this webinar on a very pertinent topic organized jointly by the Education Department, Political Science Department, and Sanskrit Department of our college. And topic is the 2020, a paradigm shift in higher education. Esteemed colleagues and my dear student friends, all of us being involved with the higher education system, we know that we have been going through a transformation in the days to come because of this National Education Policy 2020, which will be implemented in our state also as decided by the government of Assam from 2023. So I hope this kind of webinar on this particular topic will give some new ideas how to implement the NEP in true sense and what will be the paradigm shifts in different arenas of higher education. I hope Professor Goswami will be very right choice taken by the Departments of Education, Political Science and Sanskrit to speak on this pertinent topic, and he has some expertise on this particular topic even. I hope all the students and our teachers will be benefited by this webinar, and I wish you all the very best. And with these few words, I would like to conclude my welcome address. I welcome you all once again to this virtual platform. Thank you very much. Over to Arpita.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor Kannoki Kolita to introduce before our house our distinguished resource person, Dr. Dolomoni Goswami, sir, Professor, Department of Education, Guwahati University. To you, Kannoki.
Kannoki, please unmute. Kannoki, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Honorable Principal, sir, respected Vice Principal, ma'am, distinguished speaker of today's webinar, Dr. Dolomoni Goswami, sir, respected head of the Department of Education, Political Science and Sanskrit, esteemed teachers and my colleagues and my dear students participants. A very good afternoon to all. Now I'm going to introduce our Dr. Dolomoni sir. Dolomoni Goswami sir is a professor of Department of Education, Guwahati University, and the director IC of Guwahati University Press. Sir is a man with a wealth of knowledge, especially in the field of higher education. He has been serving as a teacher and actively associated with research activities since last 27 years. The literary contribution of Goswami sir to the society in the area of higher education is of appreciation. Almost more than 250 articles on various issues of education have published in newspapers and magazines. As a writer, Goswami sir is very popular among the students of education. He has written lots of textbooks, and out of which I'd like to mention only two, which I have already read. Number one is Philosophy of Education, and this is the textbook for MA, MA, and BEd courses. And second one is Principles of Education, and this is the textbook of BA courses. In addition, he has some other reference books which are very helpful for students and teachers as well. Some of them I have mentioned: Higher Education in India, Contemporary Issues in Education, Literary and Development, Education in Northeast India, Shikha Prasanga aru onnyanyo. Regarding to the publication, it will be incomplete if I do not mention about his publication in journals. I have published more than 60 research papers in national and international levels. Sir, it is an honor for you that under and competent guidance, many research scholars have awarded PhD degree. A person who has already attended more than 200 seminars, webinars, conferences, and lecture programs as a research person enter Northeast and India. It is a matter of pride, sir, for me to introduce respected Dolomoni sir as a distinguished speaker of today's webinar. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and giving us your valuable time. I wish your deliberation today will give us a new perspective in understanding the concept of new education policy 2020 as a paradigm shift in higher education. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Kannaki. Now I request our distinguished resource person, Dr. Dolomoni Goswami sir, to enlighten us with his lecture on a national education policy 2020, a paradigm shift in higher education. To you, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. And a very good afternoon to everybody. Respected Principal of Pragjyotish College, Dr. Mohanto, the organizers of this webinar, Department of Education, Department of Sanskrit, and Department of Political Science, and all other respected faculty members of this college, and most respectful the participants coming from the different parts of the state, and my dear students. Most probably students are also here. Participants, among the participants, are there students also? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Students are also there. Okay.
Significant numbers. Sir.
Yeah, very
Yes, significant number, sir.
significant
Mostly-
number. Definitely most of the participants are students.
Yes, sir. Students and
Students of-
faculty.
Students and faculty also. Okay. Students of Pragjyotish College or from some other institutions also?
We have actually sent the link to other colleges also.
Okay,
So
okay,
some
okay.
of them might have joined.
There might be some participants from other institutions also.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nice. So I must be thankful to all of you for giving me this opportunity. Actually, it was supposed to have on offline mode earlier, but due to the situation, circumstances, COVID situation, it has compelled the institution, Perzutis College, as well as me, to conduct it in online mode. So anyway, online mode is, in one sense, it is very good. We may have more participants in online mode than offline mode. So anyway, this is a topic which has been assigned to me. It's NEP 2020, a paradigm shift in higher education. Actually, for the last 2 years, almost 2 years, the draft National Education Policy 2019, when it was submitted in the month of May 2019, since then it is, we have already completed 2 years, more than 2 years we have already completed. And during the last 2 years, probably there has been a lot of discussions, debate, arguments, seminar, conferences on National Education Policy 2020. So I have never seen before so many discussions, seminar, conferences are on a single issue like NEP or any other like that. And on my part also, what my experience is that I myself have participates more than 100 webinars only on NEP, and more than 50 to 60 offline mode seminar and lecture. Even today also. Today, this is not my single lecture. Even from 10 to 11:30, I had another lecture on NEP and liberal education at HRDC Guwahati University. So why I'm mentioning this? There is a reason that why I have mentioned this thing. The reason is that it indicates, this situation indicates that how much we stakeholders are becoming aware about the implementation of national education policy. So this type of awareness we did not see in 1986, during the time of 1986 national education policy, even earlier also. But this time people are becoming so much aware, so much conscious. Not only the teachers and students, even the other community members also becoming very much aware. So why we're becoming so much aware? That whole education system, whole the structure of education from elementary, primary education to the higher education is going to be changed, going to be transformed, going to be modified. So NEP 2020, what is there in NEP 2020? What provision is there? So far primary education is concerned, so far higher education is concerned. This is known to all of you. As I know, and if I am not wrong, all the participants here, they are known what is there in the National Education Policy 2020. Because more or less all of you are acquainted with this NEP 2020. So, but still, as discussion is on NEP 2020, the paradigm shift in higher education. So I'd like to highlight some of the discussions. What is done in NEP 2020 so far higher education is concerned, and especially I would like to discuss that how what is the implementation part of these provisions, how much effective the implementation strategy will be, and what kind of impact will be there on these policies on the people, on the education system, etc. Now, as you know that the draft National Education Policy, actually education policy, it is actually after a long gap of 34 to 36 years, we have a new education policy. Last policy, which was implemented in 1986. That was the second National Education Policy of India. The first policy was in 1968. That was the first National Education Policy in 1968. Then after in 1986, we have another policy. Since 1986, we didn't have any policy, education policy, any national education policy. But when Bharatiya Janata Party, under the leadership of Narendra Modi, formed a government, so their first attempt to modify, to transform the education system is the launching of national education policy. Accordingly, responsibility was given to one eminent, actually he was not actually educationist, but he was a bureaucrat, but he can be considered as educationist also, T.S.R. Subramaniam. Responsibility was given to T.S.R. Subramaniam. A committee was constituted under the chairmanship of T.S.R. Subramaniam for evaluation of a new national education policy. It was in 2014. Then just after a year, T.S.R. Subramaniam committee submitted its report to the Ministry of Human Resource Development regarding evolution of a new national education policy for India. And on the basis of the T.S.R. Subramaniam committee report, the Government of India, Ministry of Human Resource Development, constituted a draft committee for national education policy under the chairmanship of K. Kasturi K. Kasturi who is a chairman, who was a chairman of ISRO. He was a famous scientist as well as educationist. Then total 11-member committee, that was a 11-member committee. So even though only 9 members practically work, 2 members resigned for some reasons. So Kasturangam committee has submitted its report in 2019 in the month of May. And what is there in the report, all of you know. So many suggestions, so many provisions were made to reform the education system in our country. And after submission of the report, there was a countrywide discussion and debate. So many seminars, conferences were there, so many discussions were there, so many arguments were there regarding the provision of NEP 2019. So many protests is also there. Even still protests is going on. Many people are protesting also. So anyway, when the Kasturangam committee submitted its report, it was given on the public domain, and government asked for public opinion and suggestions. So accordingly, more than 2 lakhs suggestions were received by the Ministry of Human Resource Development. And ultimately, it was in 2020, it is the month of July, 30th July 2020, the Government of India has accepted the national education policy, new national education policy. And the Government of India has prepared a brief report. It was only 67 pages report. Earlier report was 477 pages. But final report was only 67 pages. And this report was approved in a Union Cabinet on 30th July 2020. So, after the Cabinet approval, now we are sure that there will be radical transformation in the education system. So, National Education Policy is a very comprehensive report. Even the Kasturangam Committee report was a very comprehensive report. And it was such a policy and such a report, such a comprehensive report, that not a single area of education, not a single area in education is left in the report. It has touched each and every aspect of education. Modification has been indicated in every aspect of education. There has been suggestion for structural change of school education. There has been suggestion for structural change of higher education. Now, if we discuss the whole report, all the suggestions given by NEP, it will be too lengthy, but just I'm trying to cover only the higher education, how the NEP 2020 is going to bring some shift, some changes in the higher education system. So, just I would like to have an presentation, PowerPoint presentations. Just let me give the presentation first. Is it visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, slide is visible, right? Okay, thank you. So you see that National Education Policy 2020, when we discuss about the higher education, whole policies on higher education are based on certain principles. These are some of the principles which I have mentioned here. Firstly, that what kind of changes are desired by the National Education Policy. So before that, I just like to mention something about the Indian higher education system. So you know that Indian higher education system is old, very old, no doubt. We have in the ancient even system of higher education also, but modern Indian higher education is not very much old. So universities in India was started only since 1857, according to the Woods Educational Dispatch. But Indian higher education system, although it is relatively new system, but still it is considered to be the one of the largest higher education system in the world. It is now the third largest higher education system next to USA and China. It is largest in terms of number of students, number of institutions, and number of resource persons involved in Indian higher education. But in spite of being a largest higher education system in the world, Indian higher education system has been suffering from lot of problems and challenges. So access, equity, quality, relevance, these are the major issues in Indian higher education. Quality is a crying concern for Indian higher education. Although we have a largest higher education system, not a single Indian university could achieve any position among the top ranking universities of the world for the last few years. Access to higher education is still not satisfactory. We have only 27% gross enrollment ratio in higher education, while the developed countries are having more than 70 to 80% of gross enrollment ratio. India is having only 27% of gross enrollment ratio in higher education. So this is very poor. So far equity is concerned, still we are far behind the equity. Quality relevance is still doubtful. So lot of problems, lot of challenges are there. Unemployment problem, educated unemployment problem is a very the significant problem in Indian higher education. Many of the educated people who have been graduated from the different universities and colleges have been unemployed. You know that more than 85% of the general graduates in India are being unemployed. They are neither engaged in government service nor in private sector, nor they are self-dependent economically. So this is the failure of our higher education. So under these circumstances, what we desire, what we want, we need to change our higher education system. We need to transform our higher education system. This is what is desired by the National Education Policy 2020, that we need to make certain changes in Indian higher education. So therefore, some of the major changes have been suggested in National Education Policy. And the whole policy is based on the certain principle. Firstly, revamp the higher education system, create world-class multidisciplinary higher education institution across the country. So here you see that whenever talking about the higher education system, very frequently NEP 2020 has used the term like multidisciplinary. Now, our higher education system must have to be multidisciplinary in nature. Now, is it multidisciplinary? Is our higher education system multidisciplinary? First thing is that yes, of course, our universities and colleges having number of subjects, number of disciplines are there. But more than 40% of the Indian higher education institutions are standalone institutions. Standalone institution means they're running with only a single stream, either arts or science or commerce or some that professional degree maybe. After all, they're running with a single subject, single stream or single disciplines. Then there are certain multidisciplinary institutions are there. Of course, some of the universities are there where having all kinds of courses are there. But still, those who are multidisciplinary institutions, they are having also certain kind of silos. That is in the sense that it is multidisciplinary, but they are not multidisciplinary in real sense. Why not multidisciplinary real sense? There is no integration among the different subjects. All subjects are studied separately as a separate course, and all subjects and disciplines are kept under the watertight compartment. So this compartmentalization of our subjects, compartmentalization of our discipline, these are not desired in the 21st century education. So you see that. Therefore, that national education policy advocated for liberal education. Liberal education. And this liberal education can be achieved only through the multidisciplinary concept of multidisciplinary subjects. But we don't have such type of multidisciplinary institutions which are providing liberal types of education. So every subjects are confined under watertight compartment. Why I'm saying this then? This thing is that in the ancient India we have a liberal education. But when British has started the modern Indian higher education, then the discipline-specific education, the concept of discipline-specific education started. Since then, we just confine our subject within a certain limitation. So therefore, you see that what is a consequence? Consequence is that our students don't like to go beyond their subjects. For example, I am studying physics. I am studying physics means I know only physics. It is considered that it is not necessary for me to understand history. It is not necessary me for to understand culture, tradition, or politics, etc. Because I am a student of physics. I may have expertization of physics. But what problem is there? I just want to mention one problem because here students are also here. That's why I'm mentioning particularly these things. This information is very much useful for the students. ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰীসকলৰ কাৰণে খুব গুৰুত্বপূৰ্ণ কথা এইটো যেটো মাল্টিডিসিপ্লিনাৰী কথাটো ওলাই গৈছে যে you see that what is the demand of the 21st century. First, our students must understand what kind of skills and qualities will be required for the 21st century students. What is the demand of the employer today? One survey প্ৰকাশ হৈছে যে one survey has expressed that hardly 1/4 of the Indian graduates are engaged in multidisciplinary, multinational companies. Only 1/4. If we consider the figure in Assam, I think it will be much less than a 1/4. It may be hardly 1% or like that. Our students, আমাৰ ল'ৰা ছোৱালীবোৰে multidisciplinary companyবোৰত engagement নহয় কিহৰ কাৰণে why our Indian students are not engaged in multidisciplinary company? Very few students are engaged. আমি অসমৰ যদি situation চাওঁ very few students are engaged. Why? The reason is, what is the reason? Reason to এনেকুৱা নেকি যে আমাৰ student খিনি no they are not efficient, তেওঁলোকৰ একো skill নাই এটো নেকি? No, not like that. The matter is that our students are confined with a specific knowledge and specific skill. Our students don't have multidisciplinary knowledge. Our students don't have multifaceted skills. That is a major problem. But the demand of the present day employer is that the person must have skill in different fields, not only in a single field. I may be expert engineer. I may be an expert engineer. But if I don't have any other skills, then I won't be able to get a job in multinational companies. So সেইটো কথাটো হৈছে যে এনেকুৱা যে মই ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰীসকলৰ কাৰণে মই এইটো কথা কৈছো যে আজিৰ যুগত আমি we have to get the different types of skill. এটা স্কিলত হলে নহব। we have to get multidisciplinary knowledge. মোৰ অকল নিজৰ সাবজেক্টৰ knowledge হলে নহব। But our education system don't support it. In our education system, students are made specialized. Our students are not prepared to play multifaceted role. That is a major problem. So therefore, National Education Policy 2020 suggested that we need to transform all the higher education institutions into multidisciplinary institutions. Under these multidisciplinary institutions, students will have greater freedom of choice. They can choose their subjects on their own. Any subject students can choose on their own interest. Then another problem you see that under this type of system, under our present system, our students fail to explore their interest because their interests are confined within a subject. আমি practically কি কৰিছো যে আমাৰ বৰ্তমান সিস্টেমত আমি ল'ৰা ছোৱালী forcefully we admit them in certain institutions, certain stream. মোৰ ল'ৰাক মই এডমিশন দিছো সায়েন্স পঢ় কিয় কাৰণে সায়েন্স পঢ়িব লাগে because you have to be engineer, you have to be a doctor. গতিকে without considering his interest, without considering his potentialities, his abilities, his necessity, I admit him in science team. So therefore, what is the consequence? Consequence the consequence is he may become a doctor, he may become an engineer, but his actual interests have been totally deprived. So this is the defect of our present education system. So therefore, under the new system, National Education Policy, what National Education Policy says, there must be freedom of choice on the part of the students. Under this multidisciplinary system, students will get more freedom to choose. And if they get more freedom to choose, then they will be able to explore their interest. They will be able to develop their different types of skills. We need many skills. So this is one of the things. Multidisciplinary is a very common term which is used in National Education Policy. National Education Policy wants for India-centered education. Because for a long time, you know that our higher education system has been dominated by the foreign traditions, foreign, that philosophy and ideology. Because it was originally introduced by British, and the same system is still going on. But National Education Policy says that India has a rich heritage. We have a rich cultural heritage. We have rich educational heritage. Even in ancient time, even earlier than the export university, India has university like Nalanda, Takshila, Bikramshila, etc. These are the ancient seats of learning. We have a heritage. And in India, Vedic time, we find a lot of literature, philosophy, religions, spiritual, technological, vocational, different types of literatures were available there. But we Indian people, we have forgot these traditions, our rich heritage. But NEP 2020 suggests that our education system should be based on our Indian culture, Indian tradition, Indian languages. we have to explore this Indian heritage of education. Even in order in Vedic time, our science, philosophy, everything were flourished, and these are to be explored, these are to be revived. So therefore, if our education is based on our Indian tradition culture, then definitely we'll be able to explore all these things. So there NEP wants that we must have an India-centered education. And access, equity, and inclusion, I have already mentioned. Access to be increased, equity is to be established, and inclusion, all types of people are to be included in the higher education system. So therefore, gross enrollment ratio in higher education, I have mentioned that it is only hardly 27%. Only 27%. But NEP suggested that by 2035, at least gross enrollment ratio in Indian higher education must be increased to 50%. Because India is aspiring to be a developed country, certainly, economically developed country. So if India is to be a developed country, then gross enrollment ratio is must. While the developed countries is having more than 70% gross enrollment ratio, India is having only 27% GER. So at least by 2035, the GER in higher education must be 50%, minimum 50%. Then similarly, revamping curriculum, pedagogy, assessment, student support, more flexibility. As I have mentioned about flexibility, no hard separation of subjects and streams. Now, under this system, there will be no concept like arts, science, commerce, etc. Even from the higher secondary onwards, there will be no hard separation of arts and science. There will be no hard separation of extracurricular and curricular activities. There will be no hard separation of vocational and academic subjects. Everything will be under one umbrella. All will be the subjects, all will be the curriculum. So under this system, students will select chemistry as is one subject, history or political science another subjects, music or dance may be another subject, some vocational subject, skill development course may be another subject. এতিয়াৰ নিচিনা নহ'ব এতিয়া যেনেকৈ সায়েন্সত কোনোবাই পঢ়িছে মানে ফিজিক্স কেমিষ্ট্ৰি ম্যাথছ বায়োলজি এইবোৰে ল'ব লাগিব now this will be totally discarded students will have more flexibility more freedom they will be able to select any subjects any stream or their own choice while the changing or transforming the higher education institutions one of the very important term is also being used autonomy all the higher education institution must have full autonomy autonomy in what sense autonomy means academic autonomy administrative autonomy and also financial autonomy all the higher education institutions will have to enjoy academic autonomy so if autonomy is to be implemented properly then actually all the colleges will get autonomy and there will be no question of affiliating system in our higher education system. Presently, you see that we have an affiliating system. Actually, our colleges are affiliated to a university. Our colleges don't have autonomy. What our colleges do? For example, Apnapur College khone Pragjyotish College. What they do? What Pragjyotish College have to do? Curriculum is constructed by university. It is prepared by university. It is prescribed by the university. Examination is conducted by the university. Evaluation will be done by the university. Results will be declared by the university. Degree will be awarded by the university. that how much time the teachers have to take classes, this will be again decided by the university. So all these things are decided totally by the university. Then what the colleges will have to do? The colleges will have to take classes. Colleges will have to only implement the curriculum that is being prescribed by the university. Then where is autonomy? Where is autonomy? Colleges don't have autonomy. So this autonomy system is actually, it is one of the harmful effect in the quality higher education. This affiliating system, not autonomy, sorry. Autonomy system is to be appreciated, and this affiliating system is a harmful effect on the higher education system, quality on higher education system. When the British rulers have introduced the affiliating system in our higher education, but Britain has long back discarded the affiliating system. At present, in Britain, there is no any affiliating college. In USA, there is no any affiliating college. And majority of the developed countries in the world don't have affiliating system. All the higher education institutions in these countries are enjoying full autonomy. Academic autonomy, administrative autonomy, and financial autonomy. Now, this is the suggestions and provisions that have been made in NEP 2020. So far, higher education is concerned. Gradually, all our higher education institutions will be also autonomy. Affiliating system will be totally discarded near future. Then reformation in regulatory system is also another main point. Our regulatory system, we have a regulatory system of higher education. For example, we have UGC, we have AICT for technical education, Medical Council of India for medical education, Bar Council of India for law education. So NCT, National Council for Teacher Education, for teacher education. In this way, we have more than 20 number of regulatory bodies are there in Indian higher education for different courses. Now the NEP 2020 suggested for reforming the whole regulatory system. All the regulation system will be brought under one umbrella. So I'll come to that point afterwards. Then the institutional structure, higher education reformations, what will be the major reformations in the higher education is the new institutional structure. In our higher education system, we have different types of universities and colleges. Actually, our Indian higher education system is characterized by diversity. Diversity in the sense that we have different types of higher education system. We have colleges, we have universities, we have institutions of national importance, we have deemed university, we have open university, we have universities for different courses. Many types of higher education institutions are there. As per the National Education Policy 2020, whole higher education system will be of three types. Will be restructured, and it will be restructured under three major types. The first one will be research universities. Second one will be teaching universities, and third one will be colleges. Third one will be colleges. Now the research university, who will be the research universities? Research universities will be those universities which will mainly focus on research apart from teaching. Teaching universities will be those universities which will mainly focus on teaching along with research. And colleges will be those colleges which are earlier affiliated to the universities. Now they are getting autonomous, and these colleges will be multidisciplinary in nature. All these institutions, research universities, teaching universities, and colleges will be of multidisciplinary institutions. So, but then there have been no just deemed university, affiliating university, unitary university. This will be phased out. Okay. However, the research university must have 5,000 to 25,000 enrollment. Teaching universities must have minimum 5,000 to 25,000 enrollment. And the colleges must have minimum 2,000 to 5,000 students enrollment. Minimum. It means that our all higher education institutions will be large multidisciplinary institutions. What the NEP 2020 says, all the higher education institutions will be large multidisciplinary higher education institutions. এতিয়া যেনেকৈ সৰু সৰু কিছুমান ইনষ্টিটিউশ্যন থাকিব 500, 1000 এনৰোলমেণ্টৰ, this type of institutions will not be continued. So no doubt this is a very good initiative, no doubt. But even though there will be some confusions, are of course there. Confusion is the sense that when we talk about the research universities and teaching universities, now what will be the actually demarcation of research and teaching universities? And what will be the parameters, what will be the criteria on the basis of which a university can be considered as research university or teaching universities? Because we know that all the universities are having both research and teaching. Because the important dimension of universities is teaching as well as research. So of course, one thing was mentioned, it was in the draft policy, it was mentioned, those central government sponsored higher education institutions like IIT and etc. will be considered as research universities. Central universities will be considered as research universities, other will be teaching universities. But still, research demarcation between research universities and teaching universities is still not clear. This is somewhat confusing, I think. It will be again very difficult to demarcate between research and teaching universities. Then again, colleges, autonomous colleges, all colleges will be autonomous. India is having more than 45,000 colleges at present. More than 45,000 colleges. Out of which more than 40% colleges are standalone colleges. According to the NEP 2020, all the colleges will have to be autonomous college as well as multidisciplinary college. Now, it will be again very difficult that all colleges to be converted to multidisciplinary and autonomous colleges. Practically, of course, it will be difficult. Within a short period of time, it cannot be achieved. However, phase-wise, what I felt, মই ভাবো যে phase-wise কলেজবোৰ যদি autonomy দিয়া যায়, তেতিয়াহ'লে হয়তো success হ'ব, but it may take 20-40 years also. এইটো এনেকুৱা নহয় 5 বছৰ বা within 5-10 years or 15 years of it এনেকুৱা নহয়. It may take more than 20-25 years. It may take another 40 years or so to transform all the colleges into multidisciplinary autonomous colleges. So, holistic and multidisciplinary education is the characteristics of higher education. I have already mentioned it. মই multidisciplinary কথা কৈছোৱে. So education should be holistic education. This holistic education, it indicates for all-sided, all-rounded development. And a good concept, this is not a new concept that is given by only NEP 2020, but many of the educationists of India, even Mahatma Gandhi also said, you know that by education, I mean all-round drawing at the best in the child, his body, mind and spirit, physical development, mental development, spiritual development, which was emphasized by Mahatma Gandhi, Radhakrishnan, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan has also mentioned the same thing. Rabindranath Tagore mentioned the same thing. Many educationists of our country have emphasize on holistic development. And this holistic development is possible through multidisciplinary education and liberal education. Therefore, it is mentioned the move towards a more imaginative, broad-based liberal education as a foundation for holistic development of all students. So how this holistic and multidisciplinary education, how to implement in the bachelor degree? It is mentioned that bachelor degree will be of 4 years duration instead of 3 years at present. At present, our bachelor degree program is 3 years. Now, bachelor degree program will be of 4 years. But this 4 years bachelor degree program will provide liberal arts education with multiple exit option. With multiple exit option. Why I'm saying that we're saying this multiple exit option, but it is mentioned here. Usually, in this 4 years bachelor of liberal arts, anyone can leave after 1 year. If someone leaves just after 1 year of studying bachelor degree, in our present system, he will not get any degree, diploma, certificate. Just simply, it is a wastage. But according to the new or proposed system, if anyone leave his college only after studying 1 year for different reasons, বিভিন্ন কাৰণত কোনোবাই এৰি গুচি যাব পাৰে, কোনোবাই চাকৰি পাব পাৰে, কোনোবাই কিবা কাৰণত এৰি যাব পাৰে, but he will get a certificate of completion. If someone leave after 2 years, he will get a diploma. If someone leave after 3 years, then traditional BA and BSc will be also awarded to him. And it is desirable that all the students have to complete 4 years Bachelor of Liberal Arts. 4 years of Bachelor of Liberal Arts will have certain advantages. Here the emphasis will be given on research also. So therefore it is multiple exit option with appropriate certification. Undertaking PhD shall require either a master degree or a 4-year bachelor degree with research. It means if someone complete 4-year bachelor of liberal arts, he can directly conduct PhD degree. MPhil program will be discontinued. Then another very important point is mentioned, an academic bank of credit. An academic bank of credit shall be established. What is this academic bank of credit? This academic bank of credit will be established by University Grants Commission. আমি প্রত্যেকে জানো স্টুডেন্টবোৰো তোমালোকে জানা, but our teachers all of you know, we have now credit system. We have in our education system, we have choice-based credit system today already implemented. Here, আমি প্ৰতিটো learning hour কাৰণে credit দিম, credit point থাকে, credit point দিওঁ. এটা নতুন কনসেপ্টটো কেনেকুৱা হৈছে যে academic bank of credit. According to the Academic Bank of Credit, University Grants Commission will establish a ABC or Academic Bank of Credit. This will be just like any other bank. Amar jibo financial bank board hakibo, sik he bank or nisna eta bank hobo. Academic Bank of Credit. But online bank or janeke ami poisa joma rakho, in academic bank of credit or ki hobo credit jama hoy thakibo. Suppose more personally moi kiman credit paisu, eta bibhinno eta course karone moi iman khini credit paisu. Sometimes moi extra class kori, extra labor kori, I can earn more credit. But for a particular course, this type of credit will be not required. So this credit will be deposited in the academic bank of credit. So academic, but the thing is that difference is that janeke ami financial bank or more account or moi nije পইচা জমা দিব পাৰো, but academic bank of credit or credit জমা দিব পাৰিব only the institution can deposit the credit, and all institutions will not be eligible to deposit credit academic credit. Only those institutions who will get at least A grade from NAC assessment will be eligible to open account in academic bank of credit, and the students of these universities and institutions can have an account in the academic bank of credit, where credit will be deposited by the concerned institutions, and this credit can be used for further courses. Next time যদি তেওঁ কোনোবা বেলেগ কোর্স কৰে তাতে তেওঁ এই ক্রেডিটটো উলিয়াব পাৰিব, ইউজ কৰিব পাৰিব। So this is the very good idea, and I think students will be benefited from this academic bank of credit. Then the model public universities for holistic and multidisciplinary education at Parrot, IIT, IIM, etc. These will be called MERU, Multidisciplinary Education and Research Universities. These will be set up and will aim to attain the highest global standards in quality education. Then some of the important point is regarding reformation in higher education. These are internationalization of higher education. This is the internationally relevant education. Courses on Indian language, art, culture, history, and tradition. Encouraging institutional collaboration. Facilitating entry of foreign students and researchers. Student access. Faculty mobility, research collaboration, inviting foreign universities in India, offshore campus, MOOCs and open learning, and inter-university center for international collaboration. These will be. Actually, that for the last few years, we find that our higher education system has significantly emphasized on internationalization. Now, NEP 2020 has also suggested how to implement this internationalization of higher education. Here, certain strategies have been mentioned. Firstly, our education should be internationally relevant. While constructing the curriculum, while preparing our structure and any other system, we must consider the need at international level. So, if our education system is internationally relevant, only then it can sustain. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to sustain in the modern day. Courses on Indian language, art and culture, history, tradition to be incorporated in our education, higher education. So international students may be attracted towards Indian culture and language, Indian history and Indian tradition. Institutional collaboration is important. Our Indian institutions can collaborate with international institutions. Foreign students should be encouraged to be admitted. Researchers should be admitted in India. Student exchange program should be encouraged. Student exchange program between the foreign, universities and Indian universities. Similarly, faculty mobility by faculty exchange. Indian universities can make some research collaboration with foreign universities. This is very important. Another important is inviting foreign universities in India. বহুত ডিবেটও হৈ গৈছে এইটো লৈ মানুহে বহুত সমালোচনা কৰিছে ফৰেন ইউনিভাৰ্চিটি ইণ্ডিয়ালৈ ইনভাইট কৰিলে আমি কেনেকৈ আমাৰ ইউনিভাৰ্চিটিও কেনেকৈ চলিব এনইপিৰ কথাটো হৈছে কি যে ফৰেন ইউনিভাৰ্চিটিজ শুড বি ইনভাইটেড মিনছ only the top ranking foreign universities. You remember, top ranking foreign universities should be invited to establish their campus in India. আৰু এই সিস্টেমটোৰ বা কি হ'ব এনো মানে ইনভাইট কৰিব মানে কি যে আজি বহুত ইউনিভাৰ্চিটিটো নাহে কেইখনমান ইউনিভাৰ্চিটি আহিব পাৰে our Indian institutions will be benefited from this institution, our students will be benefited from this institution. Our many Indian students, they go abroad for higher studies. If the foreign universities establish their campus in India, our students can study within their country. Then similarly, offshore campus, MOOCs and open learning. MOOCs and open learning is one of the important strategies. So these are the strategies for internationalization of higher education. Research and innovation is very important. Now, for encouraging the research and innovation, National Research Foundation will be established. National Research Foundation, it is an autonomous body which will catalyze and expand research and innovation in the country. And government has already initiated for establishment of National Research Foundation. The National Research Foundation will be responsible for all kinds of research. Every kinds of research, whether social science research, মানে chemical, physical science research, space research, medical research, technological research, any kinds of research. Only National Research Foundation will provide grants. আমি যেনেকৈ আগতে ৰিচাৰ্চ কৰিবৰ কাৰণে ইউজিচিত এপ্লাই কৰোঁ প্ৰজেক্ট ল'বৰ কাৰণে now National Research Foundation will provide it. And National Research Foundation will also initiate for innovation in the field of research. Regulatory system, I have already mentioned that NEP 2020 has suggested for transforming the regulatory system. So at present, we have a number of regulatory system. Now the all higher education will be regulated by only one single authority, that is National Higher Education Regulatory Authority. However, all other current regulatory bodies may be transformed to professional standard setting. This will be NCT, MCI, BCI, AICT, yes, but MCI not, sorry, MCI to Nohobo and BCI Nathakibo. They will be independent. Only NCT, AICT able, only there will be PSBB, Professional Standard Setting Body. Then apart from that, there will be certain organization, Kisuman Thakibo, Hebo Thakibo, Higher Education Grants Council, shall be responsible for dispersing developmental and fellowship across the entire higher education sector in professional education. The current UGC shall transform to HEGC. So বৰ্তমান আমি দেখা পাওঁ যে হায়াৰ এডুকেশ্যনৰ ফাইনেন্সিয়েল গ্ৰান্টছ কোনে দিয়ে UGC দিয়ে both research grant and developmental grant. Now the research grant will be provided by National Research Foundation and general grants will be provided by Higher Education Grants Council. UGC will not play their role as a financial provider or funding agency. Then NAC will be the National Assessment and Accreditation Council shall be reinvented and separated from UGC. According to NAC is a part of UGC. Now NAC will be totally separated into a completely independent autonomous body. Then there will be General Education Council, which will be constituted as an academic leadership institution. Then at the institutional level, all institutions will have board of governors, which shall be an apex body for institution with completely autonomy. State departments of higher education will be responsible for state higher education system. State higher education council will be also there. Then regarding teacher education, we know that teacher education will be also reformed. That at present, all the teacher education program which is being provided by B.Ed colleges, this will be shifted to the general multidisciplinary degree colleges. So all the teacher education program will be a 4-year integrated program, 4-year integrated B.Ed, but 4-year integrated B.Ed will be provided by only the general colleges, not B.Ed colleges. So, okay, then there will be new apex body will be there. This will be called Rashtriya Shiksha Ayog or NEC. NEC will be the actually supreme body of education. NEC will be constituted, which will be responsible for developing, articulating, implementing, evaluating, and revising the vision of education in the country on a continuous and sustained basis. It will also create and oversee the institutional frameworks that will help facilitate this vision. And Ministry of Human Resource Development will be redesignated as Ministry of Education. It is already done. Now it is called Ministry of Education. Actually, আগতেও আছিলে এটা সময়ত মিনিষ্ট্ৰি অফ এডুকেশ্যন আছিলে তাৰপিছত 1986 পলিচি মতে MSRD কৰা হ'ল মিনিষ্ট্ৰি অফ হিউমেন ৰিসোৰ্স ডেভেলপমেন্ট কৰা হ'ল এতিয়া আকৌ মিনিষ্ট্ৰি অফ হিউমেন ৰিসোৰ্স ডেভেলপমেন্ট মিনিষ্ট্ৰি অফ এডুকেশ্যন কৰা হয় ষ্টেট লেভেলত there will be ৰাজ্য শিক্ষা আয়োগ or state education commission will be there. So the following national level apex bodies will report to Rashtriya Shiksha Ayog. Eketa hoise National Higher Education Regulatory Authority, which is proposed, National Accreditation and Assessment Council or NAC, General Education Council, which is proposed, Higher Education Grants Council, which is proposed, National Council of Educational Research and Training, it is already existing, National Institute of Educational Planning and Administration, already existing, and National Research Foundation proposed. These will be the bodies for education. And for implementation of whole the policy, there will be huge financial question will be there. So therefore, it is suggested that 6% of GDP will be on education to be spent. In 1964-66, Kothari Commission suggested that government should spend 6% of gross domestic product on education, but not a single government since 1966 could implement these suggestions to spend 6% of GDP on education. Again, NEP 2020 suggested to spend 6% of GDP on education. Karon guti actually ki hoy je guti policy to jodi ami implement koriboligya hoy, bahut toka paisa kotha thakibo, bahut khorchor kotha thakibo, infrastructure development or kotha thakibo, aru jar karone 6% of GDP khorch koribo dia hoise national education policy. So public expenditure to increase koribole koise. So however bibhinno dhoroner initiative jodio kora hoise, that bibhinno dhoroner hurdles ase. I have pointed out some of the initiatives that may face hurdles. Firstly, multidisciplinary large institutions. আমি এতিয়ালৈকে প্ৰভিজনখিনি ডিসকাশন কৰিলো, কিন্তু কি প্ৰবলেম হ'ব পাৰে ইমপ্লিমেন্টেশনত মই জাস্ট দুটামান পইণ্ট আউট কৰিছো যে firstly the first challenges will come in multidisciplinary large institutions. In what way all the institutions will be large institutions? Jodi every institutions multidisciplinary large hobologia hoy, tetia many institution will be closed down, bahut bondho koribologia hoy jabo. Gotike hetu hoyto iman practicable nohobo, কারণ বহুত কলেজ আছে অসমতো আছে যে where the students enrollment is maximum 1000. So any part on that area 2000 to 5000 students will be not an easy matter. So this will be one of the challenges, multidisciplinary large institutions. Similarly, transformation of all affiliating colleges into autonomous institution will be a great challenge. Many colleges are there. Actually, Jikini college, they are not competent enough to get autonomy. So how these colleges will be given autonomy in a short period of time is also another challenge. Then the conversion of standalone institution for professional education into multidisciplinary institution by 2030. All the standalone institutions, বিশেষকে professional institution of multidisciplinary কৰিব তো এটা মানে it is a challenge হ'ব যেনে B.Ed college বোৰ হওক engineering college বোৰ কেনেকে how all the engineering colleges will be converted to multidisciplinary institutions. এটো ইমান short period কৰাটো হয়তো ইমান সম্ভৱ নহব. It will be one of the challenges. Curbing commercialization. NEP 2020 many times have mentioned the commercialization is to be stopped. But again, the whole policy is in favor of commercialization. Good, hekhinte eta problem ahi jabo. Jete private mane institution ok encourage kora hoise higher educational participation or karone, foreign institution ok encourage kora hoise, definitely commercialization will appear. So curbing of commercialization, although mentioned in NEP 2020, will be a great challenge to how to sex the commercialization of higher education. So integrated B.Ed course only in multidisciplinary institutions, it will be a challenge of kotha hobo. Karon eta integrated BSO karone jikini teacher qualification lagibo, hekhini mane korato multidisciplinary college burot mane eta dangor challenge hoi jabo hokolote. Public financing in higher education is still very low. Until and unless public funding is enhanced, it will be difficult to implement all these things. So in this way, thank you very much. These are the provisions, discussions I have made on NEP 2020. So far higher education is concerned. But no doubt, so many, of course, drawbacks are there in NEP 2020, but still the policy is a very good policy, very comprehensive policy. And I hope that if this policy is implemented in a right way, in a proper way, the whole scenario of our higher education system will be totally changed, and probably it will benefit the people at large. But how much it will benefit to the people, it entirely depends on the strategical plan that will be prepared, that is being prepared by the concerned state government. Our in Assam also, state government has already prepared some strategical plan for implementation of NEP 2020. So hope for a better, but all the people with the stakeholders, educated people must actively involve in the process of implementation of NEP 2020 so that it can benefit the society, benefit the students, and benefit our country at large. So thank you all of you. With this discussion and presentation, I would like to conclude my speech, and we can have, I think, a discussion. I don't know whether discussion will be there or not. Probably discussion will be there. Arpita,
Yes, sir.
have some discussion also?
Yes,
So,
sir.
okay.
We have.
Okay, then we can have more discussion also. Thank you all of you for your patience hearing. Thanks.
So thank you very much, sir. It has been indeed a pleasure on our part, and a special thanks to sir for widening our horizon on NEP 2020. Sir has so beautifully and lucidly elaborated, in fact, simplified the whole concept of NEP, that many of us had many inhibitions as to what NEP actually is. But I hope, like me, all our esteemed participants have been immensely benefited and have been able to clear all their doubts related to NEP. Now our session is open for discussions. May I request all our esteemed participants to type their queries, if any, in the chat box so that sir can address those issues. If any one of our participants have any queries or any doubts or any questions relating to NEP, I would request them to kindly type it in the chat box. So, we will wait for 5 minutes to see if the queries arise.
Yes. So we can see the servers out, and they can ask directly also. Kunuba directly সুধিব পাৰিব.
হয়। কোনোবাই যদি টাইপ কৰিব দিগদাৰ পাইছে, particularly the students,
directly সুধিব পাৰে, directly question কৰিব পাৰিব.
You can unmute yourself and directly ask sir. I hope sir has been crystal clear in enabling us to understand the whole concept of NEP. তাৰ কাৰণে sir কোনো ধৰণৰ query এতিয়ালৈকে অহা নাই। Sir, মই এতিয়ালৈকে কোনো দিয়া নাই sir, কিন্তু মই এটা কথা সুধিব বিচাৰিছো। Sir, NEP ৰ যিটো impact, সব technical education হওক বা আপোনাৰ তেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ technical লাইনৰ যিটো educationৰ সাইডটো থাকিব, তাৰে কিবা বেলেগ ধৰণৰ কিবা এটা লাইন হ'ব নেকি? তাতেও multidisciplinary বা interdisciplinary conceptটো নাহেগে?
না আহিব। Even technical education to interdisciplinary concept. Actually, যেতিয়া কোৱা হৈছে liberal education, multidisciplinary education, actually কি হৈছে যে মানে বস্তুটো কেনেকুৱা হৈছে যে আমাৰ liberal education বা multidisciplinary education, it will prepare some specialist people, no doubt. But সেই specialist people সকলৰ কি থাকিব লাগিব যে apart from the specialization, they must have some skills in different fields.
Okay, sir.
এজন ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰ তাৰমানে কনচেপ্টটো এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ যে one engineer, he may have a better skill in engineering, but it is not enough in the 21st century requirement. এজন ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰ অকল ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰিং স্কিলে enough নহয় আজিৰ এমপ্লয়মেণ্ট চিনাৰিঅত। তেওঁৰ এপাৰ্ট ফ্ৰম ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰিং তেওঁৰ কিছুমান ক্ৰিয়েটিভ স্কিল, এনালিটিকেল স্কিল, কমিউনিকেশ্যন স্কিল, তেওঁৰ মানে যিটো ধৰক আমাৰ টিম ৱৰ্ক বা তেনেকুৱা স্কিল, collaborative skills, these are very important. So through multidisciplinary education, and technician and engineering graduates also can be trained for other type of skills which are required for the 21st century age.
Okay, sir. So, tamane sir,
technical education to multidisciplinary hob lagibo.
Tamane তেওঁলোকৰ কাৰিকুলামতো সাকে তেনুকা ধৰণৰ সাবজেক্টছ বোৰ ইনকৰ্পৰেট কৰে।
Of course. তাৰমানে এনেকুৱা যে এজন ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰে মিউজিকো শিকিব চান্স দিব লাগিব যদি এজন ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰিং গ্ৰেজুৱেটে ইফ ডিজায়াৰ যে I want to learn music as a part of my curriculum, this opportunity will be given to him.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. If any one of you all have any other queries or want to know anything about NEP, please unmute yourself.
Yes. Sir, I have a question to you, please. Sir, will it be possible, sir, to transform all the higher education institutions multidisciplinary in a state system?
কোন কি তোমাৰ ভাষাটো অকমান ভাঙিছে তোমাৰ নেটৱৰ্কৰ প্ৰবলেম আছে নেকি বাৰু
But I think I don't have a network problem, sir.
মই শুনতে গণ্ডগোল হৈছে নে কিবা গম পোৱা নাই তোমালোকে শুনিছা অৰ্পিতা শুনিছা নে ভালকে
নাই স্যাৰ তেখেতৰ ভয়েসটো ব্ৰেক হৈ আহিছিলে
ভয়েসটো ব্ৰেক হৈছে তোমাৰ নেটটো প্ৰবলেম আছে নেকি তোমাৰ নহলে
Okay, sir,
কোনোবাই
let me
বেলেগ
try
কৰিব
again.
পাৰিলে Yes.
Yeah. Am I audible, sir?
Am I audible in the chat box?
Yes,
Okay,
audible,
yeah.
but your voice is breaking actually.
In between, sir, a question has been asked. What will be the basic qualifications for a PhD?
No, PhD kind of qualification, you see that it will be remain same, but যিসকলে liberal education, 4-year undergraduate liberal education লাভ কৰে, they can directly admit in PhD. এতিয়া PhD কাৰণে যেনেকে আমাৰ master degree is must, but under the new education policy, কোনোবা যদি Bachelor of Liberal Arts 4 years degree complete কৰে, he may be eligible for PhD degree. But this is a provision made in the NEP, but you can implement that is different thing. It may not be implemented also.
Okay, sir.
But you see, one thing so we remember, we must remember, the NEP is a new education policy. It is policy, not act. There is a difference between act and policy. So, to the act way to avoid it is must. But policy ক্ষেত্ৰত বহু পৰিমাণে flexibility থাকিব কোনোবাই accept কৰিব পাৰে নকৰিব পাৰে থাকিব কোনোবা ষ্টেটে কৰিব পাৰে কোনোবাই নকৰিব পাৰে it depends on implementation strategy but যদি act হয় it is must so it is policy not সেইকাৰণে এইটো পাৰ্লিয়ামেন্টত পাছ হৈ পেলাই act হিচাপে হোৱা নাই তাৰমানে আৰু বহুতে কথাটো কৈছে এদিনাখন মোৰ টিভি টক এটাতো এইটো ডিসকাশন হৈছিলে এজনে কৈছে যে পাৰ্লিয়ামেন্টত পাছ হোৱা নাই এইটো So পাৰ্লিয়ামেন্টত পাছ হোৱাটো মই অৱশ্যে কনস্টিটিউশনাল কথাটো কি নাজানো যদি মই কৈছে কথাটো যে পাৰ্লিয়ামেন্টত পাছ হোৱা নাই পাৰ্লিয়ামেন্টত পাছ হোৱা আৰু প্ৰেসিডেন্টৰ সিগনেচাৰ হোৱা নাই it becomes an act but এটো act নহয় এখন পলিসি only গতিকে only union cabinet can decide the policies.
Okay, sir. So in between there is an announcement. Your feedback forms have been link for your feedback forms have been sent. Kindly I request the participants to fill up your feedback forms and you'll be given a certificate. So I think
excuse me sir.
Yes.
NEP যেটো আমাৰ কলেজ বিলাক অটোনমাস ইউনিভাৰ্সিটি কৰাৰ যেটো আমাৰ এয়া কৰিছে প্লান স্যাৰ কেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ তাৰ ইফেক্টিভনেস টু আমাৰ হ'ব গইনা স্যাৰ ইফেক্টিভ সকলো কলেজে যদি অটোনমাস কৰিব বিচাৰে
No, definitely effective hobo autonomous college autonomy is very important
হয়
এতিয়া suppose অসমত North Lakhimpur College, Johator JB College, Nagaon College, teloke already autonomy hoise. Recently, Shibohagor College of dia hoise autonomy. So autonomy is a very good idea. Kintu mane kotha to kenekwa hoise je amar ya jimanbor college ase সকলো কলেজে autonomy লবৰ কাৰণে competent হয় নে নহয় হেতু হে মানে big question.
হয় infrastructure
Yes আজিৰ যেটো status So আজিৰ ষ্টেটাসত হৈছে অসমৰ আজি সকলোবোৰ কলেজে অটোনমি ষ্টেটাস লবৰ কাৰণে কম্পিটেন্ট নহব বাট যি সকলে লব পাৰে those who are very good institution with good infrastructure I think they should get autonomy আৰু তেওঁলোকে autonomy কাৰণে এপ্লাই কৰিব লাগে autonomy লব লাগে এতিয়া কলেজবোৰে লৈছে বহুতে কলেজ বহুত কলেজে অলৰেডি এপ্লাই কৰিছে বাৰু আৰু গ্ৰেজুৱেলি খুব ভাল ভাল কলেজবোৰ অটনমি হৈ যাব অটনমি হলে ভাল কি কলেজখনে তেওঁলোকৰ নিজা প্লেন ল'ব পাৰিব নিজা ডিসিশন ল'ব পাৰিব নিজা একাডেমিক এন্ডিভাৰ মানে তেওঁলোকৰ নিজা হ'ব কৰিব
কিন্তু মেইন স্যাৰ ইনফ্ৰাষ্ট্ৰাকচাৰ সেই সাইটটো মেইন এটা
ইনফ্ৰাষ্ট্ৰাকচাৰটো ভাল হ'ব লাগিব ইনফ্ৰাষ্ট্ৰাকচাৰ বা ফিজিক্যাল ইনফ্ৰাষ্ট্ৰাকচাৰ লাগিব হিউম্যান ইনফ্ৰাষ্ট্ৰাকচাৰ লাগিব ইনফ্ৰাষ্ট্ৰাকচাৰটো লাগিবই এটো সেইখানেতো কৈছো যে বহুত কলেজে হয়তো অটনমি ল'বৰ কাৰণে কম্পিটেন্ট নহয় সো ফৰ देयर ইনফ্ৰাষ্ট্ৰাকচাৰ ইজ কনসার্ন সো ফৰ देयर হিউম্যান ৰিসোর্স ইজ কনসার্ন
হয় কিছুমান সৰু কলেজো আছে আপুনি যেটো কৈছে
তেওঁলোকে নোৱাৰিব আশা কৰো এক্সপেক্ট কৰো যে নিয়াৰ ফিউচাৰ অসমৰ সকলো কলেজে হয়তো অটনমি ল'ব পাৰিব এটা সময়ত লাহে লাহে
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার
গ্ৰেজুৱেলি হ'ব হেতুৱে we expect for a better
হয় থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার
thank you
Okay.
Sir,
yes
sir, মই এটা কথা জানিব বিচাৰিছো NEP 2020 যেতিয়া ইমপ্লিমেন্ট হৈ যাব ধৰক ইমপ্লিমেন্টেশন ফুল ফ্লেজড হোৱাৰ পিছত এজন ষ্টুডেন্ট এখন কলেজত পঢ়ি আছে যিখন কলেজৰ ষ্টেটাসটো একৰ্ডিং টু দা NAC এসেসমেন্ট সাপোজ বি ক্যাটেগৰি কলেজ তেওঁ যদি বিচাৰে যে তেওঁৰ ধৰক ডিগ্ৰী কৰি আছে তাৰ পিছত তেওঁ যদি ট্ৰান্সপাৰেন্সি ফ্ৰম আদাৰ মানে নেশনাল কোনোবা অন্য এখন ইনষ্টিটিউটৰ পৰা ধৰা পিছৰ ডিগ্ৰীটো তেওঁ ল'ব খোজে তেতিয়া কি সেম ক্যাটেগৰি ষ্টেটাস থকা কলেজৰ পৰা পাৰিব নে ক্যাটেগৰি ডিফাৰেন্সিয়েশন এ গ্ৰেডৰ বা বি গ্ৰেডৰ লৈ কথা নাই যেটো নেক এসেসমেন্টত আমাৰ জেনেৰেলি আমি কলেজ বিলাকে ৰিসিভ কৰে হেতু কিবা প্ৰবলেম থাকিব নেকি স্যাৰ
হেতু চোৱা যে ষ্টুডেন্ট জনে যদি ফাৰ্ডাৰ কোৰ্সৰ কাৰণে যায় তেওঁৰ ফাৰ্ডাৰ কোৰ্সটো ডিপেন্ড কৰিব কিহৰ ওপৰত ফাৰ্ডাৰ কোৰ্সটো ডিপেন্ড কৰিব এন্টায়াৰলি অন দা বেচিস অফ হিজ পারফরম্যান্স এন্ড ক্ৰেডিট সো তেওঁৰ যদি মানে ক্ৰেডিট বা পারফরম্যান্স বোৰ যদি ভাল হয় তেতিয়ালে তো যিকোনো ইনষ্টিটিউচনৰ ফাৰ্ডাৰ কোৰ্স যাব পাৰিব তেওঁ বেকগ্ৰাউণ্ড কোনখন ইনষ্টিটিউচন পঢ়িলে ইট ডাজ নট ম্যাটাৰ কিন্তু একেটা কোৰ্সৰ কাৰণে যদি তেওঁ ট্ৰান্সফাৰ লোৱা যায় তেতিয়ালে হয়তো ইট মে নট বি পসিবল কোনবাই আন্ডাৰ গ্ৰেজুৱেট কোৰ্স পঢ়িছে 4 ইয়াৰ লিবাৰেল আৰ্টস এডুকেশন পঢ়িছে তেওঁ হয়তো ফাৰ্ডাৰ ষ্টাডি কাৰণে পিএইচডি কোৰ্সৰ কাৰণে কবাত যাব খুজিছে সো পিএইচডি কোৰ্সৰ কাৰণে যোৱাৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত তেওঁ আগৰ কলেজখন বি গ্ৰেড নে সি গ্ৰেড আছিল ইট ডাজ নট ম্যাটাৰ কিন্তু তেওঁৰ পারফরম্যান্সটো কেনেকুৱা তেওঁৰ ক্ৰেডিট কিমান পাইছে হেতুৱে দ্যাট উইল বি মেজাৰেবল কিন্তু এতিয়াও হেতু সিস্টেমে আগতে পিছতে হেতু সিস্টেমে চলি থাকিব হেতু কোনো চেঞ্জ কৰা না যায়
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার
If anyone else would like to ask sir, or else we shall ask Dr. Mridusmita Devi to offer the vote of thanks and formally
one question is there to yes Orpita Das one query is there it is asked by one student please look over the chat box
actually it is not coming here maybe due to some technical glitch
he asks about what is the basic qualification we need for PhD course
no that question has already been addressed by sir I had already dealt with the question
okay
sir one more question Kannaki Kolita has actually asked the question is will it be possible to transform all the higher educational institutions to multidisciplinary in a state like Assam
no jetia Kannaki tumi jetia khudisa when you have asked is it possible that thing is that nothing is impossible isn't it nothing is impossible possible of course there but in this possibility challenges will be there a lot of challenges will be there of course 100% possible all the institutions all the colleges can be converted into multidisciplinary large institutions it is 100% possible but there is a 100% challenges also there now the question is how to overcome these challenges
yes sir so can you please explain some math ways and all and can you please mention some the challenges what we are going to face
yes
what challenges we are going to face sir yes
yes challenges means you see that the institution the condition of the institutions are not satisfactory number one most of the higher education institutions, firstly, that infrastructure is extremely poor. That is number one. Secondly, many of the higher education institutions are situated in such a place where the demand of higher education is very less. The demand of higher education, therefore, consequently, what happens that some of the colleges having 500, 600 to 1,000 students alone. Only with, I have come across some of the colleges in Assam which are running with only 600 to 700 students only. So how they can be made, that large multidisciplinary system? That will be the challenge. So this type of challenges are of course there. So if you can overcome these challenges, it can be made multidisciplinary and large institutions.
Yeah,
Some,
we're
I
expecting,
think
sir.
for this, we need strategy. Yeah, strategy will be required.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
It may take more time.
So we'll take just one last question from one of our participants have inquired about. At what age
Yes.
would the child formally start his education according to the NEP? Shall I
At what
repeat,
age?
sir?
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 years. 3 years of age. You see that at present, our formal education starts from 6 years of age, at present. But according to NEP 2020, our formal education will start at 3 years of age. I mean, this preschooling education, which is now considered as preschooling education, now as per NEP 2020 provision, the preschooling education will be also considered as formal education. Start from, therefore, the Right to Education Act will be amended. Right to Education will be amended. Now the Right to Education Act covers from 6 to 14 years of age. But as per the new amendment, if new amendment is done, then it will cover the age group 3 to 18 years of age.
So, as there are no more queries, I would like to end up this interactive session and would like to hand over to Dr. Midusmita Devi, Department of Education, to deliver the vote of thanks. And once again, before I hand over to Midusmita Devi, I would like to specially thank Sir on behalf of our departments for rendering your valuable time. Hope we will have more such fruitful and interactive sessions with you, sir, in due course of time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me and to interact with all of you.
So it has been our pleasure, and we will keep on corresponding with you, sir, in due course of time.
Sure. I was supposed to visit your college actually, not today, but because of the COVID situation, I'm here.
But we'd like, sir, to, if you visit us, we'd definitely like to visit our department also, sir, on behalf of Political Science Department.
Your political science? Your political
Yes,
science?
Yes,
yeah. Sure to visit.
Okay, sir. It has been a pleasure. So to Midusmita Devi.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. It has been such an honor to be a part of this wonderful event. On behalf of the organizing committee of the esteemed webinar, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed resource person, Dr. Dolomoni Goswami, sir, Professor of Department of Education and Director, IC of Guwahati University Press. We are thankful for enlightening us on NEP, which has immense relevance in today's academia. Really, sir, your thoughts and knowledge that you disseminate have truly inspired us. We have been fortunate to have you amongst us. Thank you, sir. I offer my sincere thanks to our respected principal, Dr. Manoj Kumar Mohanto, sir, for his constant support and providing us this opportunity to organize this webinar. Sincere thanks to our IQAC coordinator, Dr. Manjit Kumar Majumdar, for always supporting and guiding us. I also offer my sincere thanks to our respected Vice Principal, Dr. Champa Chaudhary ma'am. Sincere thanks to all the participants who made this webinar a successful and memorable one. I also would like to thank our technical staff, Mr. Noyan Mohanto, who has been constantly supporting us throughout this webinar. Finally, I would like to thank all of you present here for making the time to be with us today and helping us to make this event a grand success. Thank you one and all. And thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you all of you once again. Thank you.
so
I can
much,
leave
sir.
now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, can I leave
So
now?
one thing I would like to share, sir, both
Yes, yes.
Gauri, me and Medismita, we are visiting perhaps on Monday or maybe Tuesday in your department, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
on Tuesday I won't be in my department. I will be go outside
Yeah.
Morigaon on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Better you